All right, and we are live. If I'm not mistaken, yes, we are. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We got a lot of things that we're covering today, and just clicked the wrong button on my browser. All right, got that off the screen. So, we're covering a lot of things today, and one of them would be we're covering the next generation. We're covering the next generation of athletes. We got people like Alana Reed. We got Bawaji and Krumi. We got Khadija Hodge. We got a potential Jody Ann Mitchell and other athletes behind her, even for Jamaica. And a lot of these athletes I want to cover more so if they're under 18, or at least when they were first coming into view under 18. But some of the athletes are 18, 19, like Jody Ann Mitchell. I think some sources say 18, some say 19, and right there on the verge, U20. And we're going to put that with the expectations of, okay, they're performing well now. Where do we think they're going to go? That's the first question. And secondly, if they don't meet up to those expectations, do we trash them, down talk them, or whatever? Because I know sometimes when we get into a very competitive background, and I can tell you from seeing that directly and experiencing some of that, when you got a legacy of athletes or sciences or anything in technology or anything, you got a legacy of something, and people start getting behind it, the first person that breaks ranks or the other people that break ranks get dogged out. And I'm telling you, they get dogged out. So without further ado, we'll be talking about that. You are listening to Head and Shoulders ATR, where we cover athletes, performances, and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. And this is a person, if I can get this to pop up on the screen, I want to bring up her first. It's very interesting because World Athletics did not, and you guys let me know if it's too loud in the background. I got, I guess there's something blowing, and I'm hearing the feedback to myself. But let me know if you guys are disturbed by that sound. If not, then it's fine. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to try to quiet that down. 5 seconds. All right, I'm back. Peter Martin said Alana Reed and Krumi going to go far in the senior level. That's what we would expect. That's what many people would hope. But then we get smacked with maybe different realities. And let me know if this seems a little bit familiar to some people here, because life treats everybody differently. Here, let's look at Candace Hill. Here was a young upstart, the youngest person to break, the youngest woman to break 11 seconds. And now she's 24. They have not updated her profile from the high school uniform that she's had. They didn't even put the Team USA uniform that she did when she represented Team USA, right? Now, I think that's if the agent or somebody submits it, because as far as I can tell, different things pop up on different ones, and it looks like sometimes they have agent contact information up here. So I don't know how that gets updated on World Athletics, but as far as I can see, it still has not been updated from there, and she's competed after that. Now, what wound up happening, everybody knows, but everybody, well, I would assume most of you know, because you're on this channel, you're big in the track and field. But just in case, let's get it from her mouth directly, because she wrote this herself, and she posted this up to Spikes. All right. This is on World Athletics. This was something that she posted up, and so I'm going to read it. We're going to go through a couple of athletes here. Then we're going to bring it back to other athletes right now. So this was released on November 18th, November 23rd, 2018. Get that one a little mixed up with the European or the other way that they have the date. So I'm going to just go through it a little bit. I'm not going to read everything, but here we go. Track and field is a sport that's all about the numbers, but sometimes it's not the figure on the stopwatch that causes the most stress. It's the one on the weighing scales. In the past year, that number has sometimes felt like the only thing that mattered, and anyone who's been there will know how much that attitude can mess with your mind. People always joke about new college students gaining the freshman 15, but for me, it was a reality. My target racing weight was 138 pounds, but after several months living in the dorms at the University of Georgia, I was up to 153. Now, how many of y'all can relate to that, even if you were athletes back in the past, okay? Let's be honest here. Some people have done that when they went to college. They started getting the freedom. I remember my college coach Sparks. He said my last name. He was like, "You're fat." And I'm like, what? But that was my weight, actually. I never gained any real weight when I was in college. I was always a little bit heavier after track and then lighter after cross country or in the middle of cross country. And he was like, "Hey, you're fat." And I'm like, huh? But it was somebody that was was Rocky 6'2"? He was over 6 feet and he was weighing less than me. So, and I'm 5'8". And so I didn't gain it, but for the events that I was doing, hey, I was a lot heavier than them. I was at 145, 150, somewhere around there. And so for a distance runner at that height, maybe they thought that was. But for her, she put on that weight. Okay, great. As a junior, I had a lot of success, so it was especially hard to take this year win for the first time in my career. I did not win a single 100-meter race. But this is the how and why it happened. First of all, the injuries. Last November, I hurt my right knee, couldn't run on the track for 2 months, and after that, I hurt my left heel, then my right quad. Injury after injury after injury. After a while, I was like, what else? Is my arm gonna start hurting? All right? People always talk about the transition from high school to college being difficult, and now I know what they mean. Okay, now here's one of the things I want to point out, all right? Because we always assume, sometimes we look at the athletes as if they're not real people. Remember, Usain Bolt wanted to go out to party and stuff, and he knew that he couldn't necessarily do that, right? And when he was starting his career, he stayed out longer. If I'm not mistaken, he was saying it himself. Later on, he realized as he got older, he could not stay out as much. He couldn't eat as much junk food. But in the beginning, he was kind of getting away with it. Younger body, all of that stuff, right? We got to realize that the people are real people. And this is one important note here. Why she put on some weight. So injury stopping, all of the training is going to keep you lighter. So if she just ate the same thing in college campuses, especially in the U.S., horrible food. Eggs are not healthy, right? They can't. You can even Google that right now. You can look it up. They cannot legally. I think they just tried to change that because the egg industry is like, yo, our sales are going down. We need people to buy it. So they're trying to change the definition so it could be listed as, quote, healthy. But you cannot even list it as healthy. So that's what they put on the college campuses and load you up the standard American breakfast or whatever. None of that stuff is healthy. If you can't eat it as an athlete as healthy, that's not healthy in general. Because people are people. But anyway, if you were to eat the same and you got injured and stopped, training, I don't know what she did for rehab, but if you stopped doing that heavy training, you would put on some weight. Now, here's the other thing. She said on campus, I'd hang out with peers, aka friends who didn't, or maybe associates, who didn't have the same obligations. I knew that myself, and that got me distracted as well. And she said, I'd get distracted. I'd say, okay, I'll go to this party. But you quickly forget you're not a regular college kid. I have a professional career, and I can't take part in all these activities like people who don't have practice every day. And some of that probably contributed to her injuries. Think about it. You don't sleep enough. Your body is not able to recover and to heal. Now, I'm using her as a backdrop, as an example for the other athletes that I'm going to mention here. And keep that in mind. We don't know everybody's journey. We don't know where they're going to go. But Candace Hill was highlighted very early. And it'll be very easy to say, well, she's just trash. Now, I got a question for all of y'all. Is somebody like a Candace Hill or a Brianna Williams? Remember, both of them won at their respective championships. U18 for Brianna Williams, U20s, well, U18 and then U20s for Candace Hill. Now, Candace Hill doesn't have a single medal. Brianna Williams has one on the relay, and her team is stacked. Literally the number one women in the world for the 100. You can argue for the 200, goes back and forth sometimes with different nations. But consistently, it's been more Jamaica than even the U.S. recent years, especially with Veronica Campbell-Brown. But Allyson Felix had her numbered at the World Championships, especially. So, are the people judged more harshly when they perform as an outstanding youth and then they go pro? Or are they judged more harshly when they're a pro, they did a good performance, and then they don't necessarily match that? That's the question I got for y'all. Because what I'm thinking is you get judged more harshly and you really get talked down because people have these expectations, I dare say fantasies in their head of where people are going to go. We don't know where Tobago is ultimately going to go. We don't know. We have expectations. People are assuming that he could beat Usain Bolt's record. But remember, Usain Bolt as a youth was not beating the U20 records and stuff like that in the 1 and the 2, if I'm not mistaken. Or was he? He could get national records. I'm not sure about Jamaica. That part I don't know. But it really don't matter when you talk about youth to pro. There is absolutely no connection. Not everybody is like a Sydney McLaughlin. Not everybody is not like a Vashti Cunningham, where she at least got a bronze at Doha. Although after that she hasn't really performed up, but she's got a bronze at Doha in 2019. And then what happened? She did not make not a single USA high jumper made it into the finals. And she was touted for being a favorite for gold actually back in Tokyo. So sometimes people do not transition very well. So let's go on there. That's Candace Hill. And I gotta say, I mean, a 1098, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 1098 is no slouching time for somebody that young. Now, she did wind up going into, I think she's still coached by Carol Smith Gilbert, if I'm not mistaken, at USC, or out of USC. But I'm not sure how outdated my information is on some of that. But yeah, now let's look at somebody else here. And let's just temper the expectations for a second. Now, you guys might not agree with me. I just presented you with Candace Hill, where she was doing well as a youth. Now, let's look at somebody else. We got another Hill here, right? And she's doing very well in the hurdles. Very, very well in the hurdles. What happens if she doesn't necessarily transition all that well going up against the pros? Remember, there's only 1, 2, 3 spots at the World Championships and at the Olympics. Unless you want to, all the championships is only 3 spots. And since Jamaica is just like the U.S., it's the winner takes all. It's not like the British system. It's not like the systems, I think, even in Italy or most other systems around the planet, where they kind of have a selection committee, even in Kenya and Ethiopia and everything like that, right? So that means you got to work your butt off at the championships, as they still got to do that anyway throughout the year. But what happens if she makes the Jamaican team, doesn't win a gold? Then are people going to say she didn't pan out? Didn't pan out according to who? She just happened to get a youth record. Okay, great. But as we see with Hill, that doesn't necessarily go through. Matter of fact, let me ask y'all a question. How many people that get youth records, matter of fact, the U20 or U18, how many of those people go on to get a single medal ever? How many people that get the U18s, the U20s, those records, how do they, where is that tab at? I think I took it down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring it back up here on the screen, and we're going to look at it. I had that tab open. We're going to look at it because I want us to have a different conversation here. I think it's easy to talk about. This wouldn't be analysis if we didn't go into in-depth like this. If you like that, smash that like button there, and then share this with other people. Now, this is the U18 first. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at the women, the men. Now, we got Candace Hill, nothing. Amy Hunt, nothing. Li Jing, nothing. We could go down the list of the U18 performances. Oh yeah, darn it, Sembo, Almaye. Oh, man, that is so hard for me to try to get that through. If I'm not mistaken, did she get a medal? Matter of fact, let me look at this for a second. Or if yes, she did, the U20. Okay, this is a quick time right here in the 3,000 meter steeplechase. So you could just be like, just like all of these times. Actually, all of these times are quick, but in the steeplechase, this is actually quick. So this is very new, so I can't count that one. Same thing with Hill. We don't know. It's too soon. That was 2022. Same thing here in this 2,000 meter steeplechase, even though that's not really a run event like that. Then we got Sydney McLaughlin. All right, check right off of there. Going down the list, you really don't see too much. Oh, here's our world champion right here multiple times. Okay, great. She's got one. So far, I've seen 2 people. When you look at the U18, if you go down this list, you see 2 people down the list. Now let's look at the men. All right, no, Arian Knighton got a medal, okay, because that's our standard. Our standard is a medal, not necessarily even a win. No, unless relay, but I don't think so. Let me actually double check this on Justin. Let me make sure. Nope, Pan American. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought that wouldn't have been fast enough for a relay. Okay, so we go down this. Kim Boyd, obviously. Let's see. Going down the list. Anybody else see any names that I might be forgetting here? So sometimes we got to temper our expectations. So let's just bring it down to reality first. Then we're going to bring it back. So we got 2 on this list. Maybe 1. Let me check this one real quick. Make sure this is exactly the, no. Yeah, Kim Boyd did not get it. Nope. So 1 on that list for the men's side. Let's look at the U20, because then that starts to get to more like, okay, great. Okay, are they gonna, guess we gotta reload this screen here. All right, U20. Let's look at the women's. In Bowman, that's 1. Let's look at Elsner, world champ, Olympic champ. That's 2. Okay, because that's so far back there in the pre-drug era and whatnot. That's how some people note that one. So that's 1. No, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, actually, no. This was a win. This was a win right here. I even remember this one. I remember this one right here with Grit Brewer. Okay. Okay, that's the Diamond League, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. She's definitely got one. Yep. I know her. So we're starting to look at the U20s, where the U20s, we already got 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And we're going to go through some of the more recent ones, because some of these are just really far back and they're in off events. Off event doesn't count. That doesn't count. No, definitely not. Zola Bud, I think she did. Dababa, yes. All right, so we're starting to see a lot more. Now, Brittany Anderson. Now, we don't see anything with down here with a gold yet, but she's got a silver. So what do y'all think about this one? Now comparing this, we already see the list. This is the conversation I wanted us to have. This is the conversation I wanted us to have. To look down on these lists, because the U18s and somebody doing well under 18 doesn't necessarily transition them. But it looks like the U20s. Now let's look here again. There's one, there's two, Steve Lewis, Amos, yeah. Going down the list. I already did check some of these. Kajelchik, definitely, yeah. Borrega, yes. So it looks like if you get a U20, you start to transition there. So my question to you all, what's your take on this? Somebody said earlier that they assume that Alana Reed is going to transition well. Based on this, it might be too soon to take. Based on this, it might be too soon to really make that call. Because, okay, great. She's going to transition senior level or go far. Peter Martin, if you're still here. Now, you said Alana Reed is going to go far, right? Okay, well, Jamaica's pretty stacked in the open. And she's not a hurdler. And she's in open one. And yes, we're going to see Shelly Ann, but you got the twins. So that's going to be some people. You got Serena Cole. She may or may not pan out because, you know, sometimes injuries kind of irreparably change an athlete. I don't know what it is sometimes, but injuries do. It's plagued me since I got it, and I haven't been the same. So I look in other athletes at the pro level, not just bringing my own personal self here, but at the pro level, sometimes somebody gets injured, boom, and they're not at that same level. So Peter or anybody else that assume that somebody's going to go far, what happens if they don't? Do we start calling them names? Do we say they suck? Oh, well, see, they just didn't work hard enough. Is that what we do now? Do we say that they didn't work hard enough if they don't pan out? Or what about Adijah Hodge? What if she doesn't pan out when she gets older? She's running extremely quick now. And then we got to remember that, and I think sometimes athletes don't pan out. You know, when Candace Hill was going through injuries and some other athletes go through injuries, and they don't necessarily pan out the way we think they are on both. I know plenty of Kenyan athletes that I remember I used to keep getting hyped up. They're going to break the world record in the 800. They're going to break the world record. It's like a new person every single year, and then you just don't see them anymore. Sometimes, you know, people keep growing into their 20s, in their low, sometimes mid-20s for the boys, for the men. And, you know, you're going through puberty. It might be this, quote, one event where something happens, but you still are growing and your body's changing after that. And some of these athletes are very young. We don't know how that's going to do on their body. We don't know how that's going to do to them in other ways that they probably would not even understand. Like, dang, I used to be running 22.3 and now I'm running 23 something. So my question to you all is, what do you all think? I guess is your assumption that all of the athletes that you see here, are they going to do well? Now, here's my take on it. Right now, I look at this as, hey, look, I think that they have a promising future, but I'm not going to feed into the hype that these people are just going to break world records, because that's the first thing that comes to mind when people see these athletes do well. You get world record talk, right? You get other people saying, hey, this person, and it's not bad to say somebody's going to be a world champion or an Olympic champion. There's nothing wrong with that. But then the next thing that gets even more pressured is this person's going to break a world record because they ran fast as a youth. This person is going to break a world record. Now, we got Tobogo Leslie doing very well. But will he break a world record? Let's go over to his profile real quick. Let's go over to his profile and really just kind of look at that, because, I mean, this dude at 18 years old, really, I guess 19 technically when the championships were taking place. This dude looked like he was just magnetic to some of these times. And I had to point out last year, this is how hype it got, guys. This is how hype it got. Let's bring this on the screen. People were he's running so quick now. He's running so quick now that you got people hating him. Let's go back here for a second. And I want y'all to see this because I had people on this channel and they were saying something. I saw it on the World Athletics comment section and other comment sections. They were just saying, oh, see, he thought he was doing this. He held back and he did that. And I was like, see, if he just took it serious, he could have ran faster. And then I had to point out, and then people got calmed down. I said, do y'all know how much of a headwind they were running into? Look at this, negative 1.0 headwind. He had a tailwind behind him when he was holding back. What you expect somebody to go through the first round and let me just set these other records. And then when he ran that 20.23, wasn't it a wet track and this headwind right here? If I'm not mistaken, it was either the final was a wet track or the semis. And they were like, oh, see, he slowed down. He shouldn't have done. I mean, he put himself into there. He destroyed the rest of the field. He did what he needed to do. A little bit of showboating. Nothing wrong with that. Entertaining, actually, to say the least. And then running against a headwind. So I'm like, okay, this is at least a 19.8 with a proper tailwind. If you just flatten them out, it's 19.9 low. But I think that was a 19.8 high performance. If you flip that wind the other way in a slightly better track conditions, there you go. That's what that performance was. I was like, do y'all know how fast they were running? And he's running so fast, he's got haters. But that means if he doesn't perform, you know how much pressure? I don't know. Some people do fall under the pressure. Maybe Sha'Carri Richardson is one of those people that fell under the pressure. I don't count her on the list, though, because she wasn't necessarily already... I guess I could count her on the list technically, because wasn't she 19 running that 1075? So I kind of don't, but I kind of do put her on the list because most of these athletes I'm talking about were already showing signs of that fast, very fast, before 19, before 18 in many cases. So that's why I'm really talking about him. Even Leslie, he was already really performing faster before he was 19. So this wasn't something that was just out of the blue or a big flyer that he got at a championship or something like that, and a good mark. So, but anyway, then you look at him in the 100. Does this mean that he's going to break Usain Bolt's world record? Now, I did say world record watch and stuff, you know, this kind of that, but let's do a fair assessment of his abilities. Does this mean he's going to break the world record? Man, he ain't a 19. First, let's get him to a 9, not a 19. Let's get him to a 9.7 area. And then let's start talking about that. 9.91 while showboating, to be fair. So 9.8 something is light years away from a 9.7 flat, much less a 9.6. It's not many athletes that have ever gone 9.6. What, 3, 4, maybe? If I'm not mistaken. 3. Yeah. So, and then you're talking about 9.5 anything. So, and Usain Bolt didn't even have to run this quick as at his age. It happens different for everybody. So that's the analysis I wanted to give today, guys. I wanted to give something more sober. I can see this isn't the talk that some people like. Apparently, we got people coming in and out. But hey, this is the talk that we're having because we want to cover a fair assessment of these athletes. Just because somebody's doing something when they're younger doesn't mean they're going to automatically break a world record. But hey, if you see me say a video about Leslie Tebogo might break the Usain Bolt's world record, hey, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the hype of sports. This is a more sober one. Some people don't like those types of topics here. But we're going to do something different on this channel. We're going to talk about everything, including maybe some of the more boring things. But just because these athletes are doing that, I don't think that they may transition to pro level automatically. Especially in Jamaica or the USA. Those two areas in the sprint area. Same with Kenya. I didn't even go down to Kenya athletes because we don't have a big distance squad here, or else I'll bring in them. I got them a dime a dozen. I got a sheet of paper right here with all of the names. Right here. Let me shake that sheet. Right here with all the names. I thought I was going to go through it, but I'm about to end it now. With all the Kenya athletes, when you have a really competitive country and these athletes stand out younger, faster, and stronger at a younger age, for the USA, you talking about not even including what's her name in the 1500 that was under Alberto Salazar. She didn't pan out when she went to that level, right? She didn't pan out. Then she started complaining about his coaching style, and then they banned him or whatever. He didn't break any of the rules. I'm not going to cape for him, though. But I would like to point out that they just said he violated the, quote, spirit of the sport. That's the I'm white and I say so thing, although he's white too. That they could just say anything and just say, well, you know, we don't like you, so we're going to take you out. It's the whatever that means. So she didn't pan out, and that's a mid-distance runner. But athletes don't necessarily pan out. So I just like to sober us up. I like to point us out to that direction. If you like the content and everything that we have here, definitely subscribe, smash that like button, share this with other people, because that's what we've been talking about today. If you're just joining the stream, go back to the beginning. I still like to point out this athlete, although she may not be a big standout, right, on the world stage. Her performance is more sober, right? Her performance is more sober. So I like to point out Jody Ann Mitchell, right? And say, just keep an eye on her. That's it. I don't really expect too much, but just keep an eye on her. Same thing with Alana Reed and other athletes. I like to see what happens to Cole after she recovers from an injury. And Crumey, I think he's going to do something. I don't know necessarily what. Because just like somebody pointed out, we see a couple of athletes that run 10 low, running at 9 something when they're very young, and then they kind of disappear and they kind of get mixed into the crowd. You have collegiate athletes. We're going to see how the twins transition. Because remember, I'd like to point this out to y'all, and then I'm going to end it off with this. For the since 2008, it's been the Shelly Ann Fraser-Price parade. Then you had Elaine Thompson-Herah, but not so much for the World Championships, but still, Elaine Thompson-Herah. Now we got a Shericka Jackson. You've had youth come and go in between Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. They came and they went. They came and they went. You had youth come and go with Elaine Thompson-Herah. They came and they went. And some of them are still trying, and they are nowhere to be seen. And this is just talking about Jamaica. We can go to the U.S., but because Jamaica is dominating in the women's field, we're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to go to the USA and everything, but I'll end it off here. They came and they went. Where are the youth at now? That's my question. I like to celebrate the youth where the youth are. They won. They ran a fast performance. Yeah, Usain Bolt, Veronica Campbell-Brown, Karan Stewart, Melanie Walker. Is it Melanie? Because I don't think her name was spelled Melanie, but Johan Blake, yeah. But what about the other people that were there with them? Do you then discount them? Because remember, when I pointed out on this channel, one of the relay runners that was running really well for Usain Bolt in the semi, people were like, who is that dude? He's slow. And I was like, he's got a gold medal on a 4x1, and he allowed Usain Bolt not to have to run one of the rounds. Don't y'all kind of appreciate that? Where he could kind of rest up. Yeah, all start from youth to junior level. Yes, some of those athletes are coming from youth because that's just the name of the field. Allison Felix. You got Sydney McLaughlin, Noah Lyles. Justin Gatlin was technically kind of standing out a little bit. But you can kind of go down the list with so many people from different nations too. But most of the athletes, that's what I'm trying to say. Most of these athletes do not pan out like that. Most of the athletes wind up being, they go to NACAC. Nothing wrong with that. They're just not at the elite level. They go to Pan Americans. They go to the, they canceled it last season because of how all of the championships. But the Continental Cup, that's what it's called. The Continental Cup, where they got the North America, South America, Asia, Oceania, Europe, and all of that, where you represent them. A lot of the people go to the different types of levels of championships, and they carve out their field in there. And my channel is dedicated to the top 30 athletes. Well, if you're in the top 30 consistently, like I said, it's head and shoulders above the rest. I'm thinking the reason why I haven't listed the bronze label, gold label, black label, platinum, and all of that this year, and I stopped it last year, is because I had to do a deep dive and analysis, and I'm almost done with where I'm at. So when I come back out with this again, it's going to be refined. But I cover all the athletes there. Now, as fans, y'all probably just like, look, whoever the top athlete for our nation, and when they make it, cool. If you ain't in the top 3, you're trash. That's kind of how people are. And that's how it was when I was coaching under York High School. I remember Mr. Newton, he won so much. He won so much. 4 years in a row, cross country. Then it was a year loss. He said when he lost, he came off the bus, they would throw cans at him. They'd call him names, curse him out. It was just all types of stuff. When you're used to somebody winning and then somebody comes around and they ain't at that level, and I respect that because that's how you kind of iron sharpens iron. Steel sharpens steel, right? So you got the mindset of winning. I ain't trying to take that away from y'all. Not in the U.S., not in Jamaica, not in Kenya, not anywhere else where you have your respective carved out lanes where you're already winning. What I'm trying to do here is to give a sober mindset and reminder that most of these people that stand out are not going to make it. That's what's just going to happen. Most of these people, and we don't know. We never know because it's only one winner and 3 people that make it out of the teams. 3 people that make it. I don't care, world champion, you get 4 people to make it. I mean 3 people that get medals. That's what today's topic was. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, smash the like button. If you didn't, well, we'll see you on the next video. Yeah. Guys, let me know your thoughts either in the live or the post recording, but you've been listening to Head and Shoulders ATR, where we cover athletes' performances and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. We are going to have weekly live streams now. They're going to be on Sunday. Expect them to be right around 6 to 6:15 p.m. Unless there is a major track meet. I might still just do it anyway, even if it's a major track meet around, because I bounced around with the live streams based on those. But I think I'm going to have a consistent one. Some people are watching some events and they don't watch the other ones. I will likely, if I'm watching the event and I still go live, I will have headphones on and something watching it on my phone while I'm going live. I did that on one of the lives before. I had started the live and I was still watching another track meet so I could give some live updates as that was going on. So I think I might do that. Mondays, we might have these different types of topics where we talk about things like this, like where we talk about the youth, where the expectations are. I think I see big things coming for most of the youth. Like I saw all those athletes there in Cali, Colombia. I saw Tara Davis. I saw the Lyles. I saw Sydney McLaughlin. I even saw, I'm not going to mention, I'm not going to mention the names because I remember I mentioned the names a few times, a few of the athletes, and they felt a little funny because some of them I talked to here and there. So, and some of the people I know their families, but that's because I announced, not necessarily because I met them in 2015 when they were going to Cali, Colombia. I met the families and everything. A lot of those athletes, they don't know me personally. I just remember as I announced for them. But some of the athletes, they felt a little funny. I'm like, okay. But we have people. Simone Mason was there. I will mention her. Simone Mason, she went to LSU, and she went to Cali, Colombia. She was a youth that I think, in my opinion, was standing out, not to the level of some of these. But then, right now, she hasn't done much to some people's expectations. right? And that's where I want to leave us off at. So I'll catch you all on the next video. Let me know what you think about this. If you don't like this type of video, just let me know.